Bennett, in the bill, their exception for rape is only for 45 days. Is that correct?
That is correct, Senator Petersen.
Okay. And it doesn't specify what a rape is in the bill.
That is how I read it, correct.
Right. And we have seen that this bill will be, medical providers will have to work with a board of medicine who will be deciding what is or is not rape, correct?
That is how I read it, correct.
And also the board of medicine is the same board that has gaslit and ignored a mandatory reporter who's come before the board for the past 3 years after being sexually assaulted by a doctor in our state, begging and urging them to revoke that doctor's license, and she has been ignored. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that same doctor then was just recently put in Polk County Jail on $1 million bond for sexually assaulting an 8-year-old in the time period that she's been going to the Board of Medicine trying to protect children. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that child is in Senator Bouchelot's district, according to the records. So I do think we need to be crystal clear. The Board of Medicine has not upheld its duties on understanding what sexual assault is in Iowa. I also think it's interesting, why would rape be treated differently than incest? I noticed that 140 days for someone who's raped by a family member compared to 45 days for somebody who may be raped by a minister. Do you know why that might be, why we would have two different sets of dates?
You know, that's a good question, Senator Petersen. I did pose that question to the person who's floor managing the bill. That senator did not seem to know where these numbers come from, and it causes me to wonder how seriously these concerns are taken in the crafting of this bill.
So we don't know. We don't know if that was a request of the family leader for 120 days, or if who that request came from. But, 140 days.
No, we don't know that.
We don't know that. But the floor manager did not seem to know that either.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Senator Petersen. I did ask the floor manager, but the floor manager was not able to tell me.
So, we've talked about Iowa being the worst in the nation for child sex abuse, and the statute of limitations to take a child rapist to court to sue for civil damages ends when a child turns 19. But according to this, if their victim did not come forward within 45 days after being raped, they would not have the ability to terminate a pregnancy of their rapist. Is that correct?
That would be my reading of the bill, correct.
So they have no ability to go after their perpetrator, but their perpetrator, if they can keep a child from reporting the rape, would force the pregnancy of that child to carry the rapist's baby to term. Forced pregnancy. Is that correct?
That very sadly is how I read this bill.
Okay. And then I also